So we start at the moment where there's a knock at the door. To set the scene a little bit, so the caravansary is in an old airport. The entrance to the terminals is, I described it last time as a mud hut. It's not a hut. It's an adobe building made from mud bricks, and it's big enough to house the. There's like a bodega or something with the owner behind the counter. Then there's like a beaded doorway, with this beads on a string, where you can get to the actual building where the terminals are, and the rooms for the guests are probably reused from I don't know, the airline offices or something. So your room itself is pretty small, but there's a window with a curtain, and the window would from your room you can see like the outside of the where the passengers would line up. There's a bed in the room. There's a light bulb in like a cage, but you tried the light bulb with like a gigantic switch on the wall, but it's not working. There is like a small table with a bowl of water. There's a candle on the table, and that's more or less it. There's like some threadbare towels, and the room itself is pretty dirty. And yeah, somebody knocks at the door. Nida, where are you at the moment?
I believe I am groggy as hell, laying on the bed. We'd established that I was splashed with alcohol to make it seem like I was just drunk and just blot out.
And that's how I was trying to wake you up too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's the smell of alcohol in the air. Where are your weapons, Nida?
My weapons are always with me.
And
I'm probably laying on the sniper rifle, but I had my other weapons are within easy arm's reach.
Yeah, but they're leaning against the wall or something.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody,
well, I didn't do anything. Remember, she had collapsed on the
auto wagon.
Yeah. So I just picked her up, carried her up here, and dropped her in bed. I didn't take anything off of her. So
yeah,
whatever she has is still on her.
Okay. So then I would assume that you're lying half on your sniper rifle that is always like slung over your shoulder or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I'm either laying on it or I'm laying on my side, and it's kind of like pulling me a little bit backward.
Yeah, and then you also have this like a rod from fused ancient pistols, I think, and that's on your belt, I assume. Yeah. And Ned.
Well, I had said that Nat had put the fingers with rings on them, that sort of thing, had hidden it in with the meats in their picnic basket.
Yeah.
And they still have their neural whip on their belt. They probably don't have their bow with them because they were essentially on a date.
Yeah, so. That's true. Okay, cool. And I think Copernicus is still outside.
Yeah, we were like making our way back as we had watched those people go in.
Yeah, and you were questioned, I think, by a Redlander, and then you told a story, and then they moved away. Okay, Ned, what do you do?
I will open the door.
And before you stands a Redlander in an overall. He has his right arm is cybernetic, and he has like a buzz saw that is not on. And he has like a double barrel a flintlock pistol in the belt and a machete on the back, and he has like a sloppy mohawk that is not, held up. Yeah, exactly. And he also wears goggles. And he has an overall and a leather jacket with some spikes. And you can see there's some kind of emblem on the overall. And he says, what does he says? Like, what happened to her? Looking at Nida.
Give me more whiskey.
My companion was indulging in the bar, and when the beast appeared, she tried to jump off of her bar stool to run attack it, and, well, attacked the floor with her face. And I have taken her back here to allow her to possibly recover away from the danger. Were you the one who defeated the beast? Then you have our eternal gratitude.
Well, it was all a mirage. There was no beast. And you can also hear from the neighboring rooms, people are knocking and asking questions.
And I will turn to look at Nadia and go, you panicked over a mirage. I have told you, you need to stop.
There's a bomb. I saw it.
I'm sorry, my companion, she tries to relax a little too much. Sometimes she blinds herself to the voice of the prophet and tries to expend all of her funds on a single. While the joys of alcohol are temporary, but the joys of profit are eternal, and sometimes she does not always understand this. I'm bullshitting the hell with myself. I am a lawyer, so.
Yeah, you can see that his eyes are darting around the room, trying to find clues. But obviously, you're trying to fast talk him or confuse him. So why don't we? Because he is definitely suspicious,
Of course.
and the child had pointed towards the bodega, and so I think is this? Let's see. I think it is some kind of persuasion with charisma, I would say.
Okay. Not my best stat, but not my worst one either.
But I would say your lawyer vocation does definitely help you here. So this is a double positive task roll, a roll with advantage.
Okay. So what am I rolling?
You're rolling a d20 on your charisma, and if you roll a 12, that would be a critical success.
Okay, a d20 under my charisma. So d20. Okay. And do I just roll 1 or 2?
2.
2. Okay. So let's roll 2d20 here. And I get a 1 and an 11.
That's both are under 12.
Yes.
So I think as soon as you mentioned your religious background, he turns away in disgust and says, "Yeah, well, I know." And then he goes to the next door.
Okay.
And in the meantime, outside Copernicus, you can see that the Redlanders are still questioning people. You can see that 3 are packing their bags, like they're packing the 2 auto wagons. You can also see that the wandering Sarai has closed the doors and drawn the curtains, so to speak. There are a couple of people with like opera glasses looking at the scenery from above, but that's about it. The square in front of the bodega is completely empty, except the Redlanders, looking for clues, questioning. And what do you do?
I think my assumption is that we will leave soon, so I'm like preparing to like getting our things together and packing and doing a similar thing. And if anybody asks, I'll be like muttering under my breath about like thieves and needing to leave right away. This place isn't safe and stuff like that.
Yeah, Vigo is definitely he has been hidden inside the wagon, and he says, "Is the monster still there?"
No, the monster's gone as fast as it appeared.
Well, this was horrible.
It was. That's why we need to leave right away.
And he helps you packing. Ned and Nida, what are you doing?
Does Vigo know that we jacked the stuff? Or is he innocent in all this?
I think he's innocent.
Okay, that's good. It'll help us.
Vigo's a sweet, precious boy, and I want to protect and preserve his innocence for as long as possible. Even if he does see ghosts and smoke a lot of weed.
Too much, I think. So yeah, what are you doing, Nida and Ned?
Praise to the prophet.
We will, I will, to maintain the illusion, I will help her up. Actually, I'll abandon my picnic basket. I'll take the stuff out of it and just stick it in a pocket and help her, because it would look odd if I was going out helping her and carrying a picnic basket.
And I'm still, I think, loopy from the knockout gas, but
yeah.
I'm saying, Nat, I got to get a message to the far side, to the Legion. They're robbing people on the highways.
Yeah, we know. We'll get it to them, but we got to get out of here first.
Oh, by the way, Nida, the poisoned gas has definitely a lasting effect on your constitution, and that is a D4. Can you roll a D4, please, and subtract that from your constitution?
Alrighty. 2 seconds here. That's a 3.
And
yikes.
You would write that under current constitution. And the way you can, it can be treated.
So that knocks me down to 10, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And it can be treated as an action at the next destination, for example.
Okay.
Or it can be healed by drugs and so forth. So there are different ways to do it.
Oops. Drugs, you say?
Okay. And so, are you checking out from the caravanserai? You're muted, Dennis. Dennis, you're muted.
I saw. I'm going to take Nadia to the wagon, to our cart, and then I will go and basically go, this place, do you always have monsters like this attacking here?
It's today, I don't know. It was a bad day. I hope that you will be a returning customer. I can promise this is not normal.
We will, and I will not deny you your profit, but we will be on our way.
May the prophet of profit be with you.
One thing I'd like to do from the wagon, because I'm assuming that the Greenlander that I talked to, whose name I can unfortunately not remember at this second.
Beauregard.
Yeah, Beauregard. Was in an elevated overwatch position at the Wandering Sarai.
Yes.
And I'm showing him like kind of a hand signal because I know he's looking through the scope to say, watch out for those people, warn travelers, whoever you see. Those 2 auto wagons are trouble and they need to get away.
Yeah, I think we see, like in the fictional television series, we see you through his scope making the hand gesture. And he just nods without you seeing it. Okay. And then we are on the road again, I think. So when you pull out of the caravanserai, you can see that the Redlanders are also packing up their stuff. And we do the traveling again. Let's see.
Do we know where those robbing people are going to go next?
You don't. You haven't inquired about this.
Mm-hmm. Because Nida, you want to like set a trap for them or let people know or something like that, right?
Basically, I just need to get a message to the Legion of the Farsight so that word gets out and a bounty gets put on their heads. And at some point, one way or another, that situation will resolve itself.
Okay, so you like you're not hoping to be a part of a raid on them or something like that?
If I am part of it, that's fine. But in the meantime, alerting other travelers and alerting the Legion of the Farsight so that people are aware of it, that's enough. That's what we do. We're wandering nomads. We often operate alone. It would take a coordinated, organized effort between multiple members of the Farsight to take this crew down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not really a small thing. It's not like there's a couple dozen of us hanging out in cities and whatnot. I mean, the biggest gathering that usually happens is maybe 3 or 4. You know, we're used to taking down individual threats, warning travelers, taking down a big creature if necessary. A dozen heavily armed goons, it would take banding up with other people who are not members of the Legion and also see the danger to do that. Because we're not Jedi, but we're about as rare as Jedi.
Sure.
So you take the northern road. So from if you look at the character keeper, I updated our map. It's now the map from the rules book, and you can see that the northern road it's like a winding road through the hills to the steppe of the Lime Nomads. And I imagine that it's these dry dry hills, stony hills, where the road snakes through. And so during travel, you could theoretically like stop and forage or care for your constitution wound. You could also set an ambush theoretically for the Redlanders in case you expect them to follow you. You could try to hide, or you could try to study something. That is if you want to stop during the travel, or we can just travel through the next destination.
Do we see any kind of ruins or anything like that, like columns or pillars?
Let's see. That would be... So from the when you leave the caravanserai, you can see that the high road. So you're not following the high road anymore. The high road goes further south. You can see cairns. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly.
Cairns, I see. Yeah.
Cairns. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is but
Little
they're
rock
not.
piles.
Yeah, exactly. Rock piles. You don't see in the hills themselves any kind of bigger constructions. It might be that there's like for example, like a gigantic not exhaustion pipe, but like sewage pipe or something sticking out of one of the hills, but no building or something.
In that case, I mean, could I smoke some weed along the way as we're traveling? Or do we need to stop and have me smoke?
No, you can definitely smoke while traveling.
Okay. Because I think at this point, I'm starting to realize that I need to do something to affect my constitution in a positive way. And I think I'm just kind of tapping Copernicus on the shoulder and saying, hey, yeah, puff, puff, pass.
And I guess I just tap Vigo on the shoulder and say the same thing.
And Vigo is more than happy to roll a joint with, probably to the chagrin of Ned, is still made from cockflower Bible papers. Let me see. A purple haze. Well, there's no scientific proof that purple haze does anything to constitution, anything good, at least. So I guess you just get stoned and have to listen to Vigo playing like a flute solo, which...
That's honestly much better than I was afraid of, because I thought that Vigo would start expounding on his personal philosophies about life and the interconnectedness of all things, which, you know, is cool, but...
So I think, Ned is the only sober part of the party, while your wagon sways from one side to the other, while maneuvering through pretty like steep bends in the road. And so I meet somebody, and it will be... Let me look at my character keeper. I think it is Fraser has to roll for misfortune.
Is that D8?
Misfortune is a D20 plus your charisma modifier.
Oh, okay.
Which is 0, I think. So it's a straight D20.
6.
And let's see, what is 6? That doesn't sound too good. Okay, so while you're traveling, there's this like the flatter the hills become, the drier the landscape becomes as well. And you had this smell and taste of ash before, but now it smells like at the dentist almost, when they drill into tooth fillings, and that smell is in the air. And there's like ash is actually flowing through the air. And one day, Copernicus realizes that you get a rash like on all over your body, and if you investigate, there is lice in your clothes. I mean, you're a gaseous individual. Somehow these lice bother your integrity, your gaseous integrity. And I need everyone to make, I think, a saving throw to not be infected by lice.
Snap. Okay, saving throw. That's ST, right?
Yeah.
And mine is a 5, so I need to get below a 5.
Yeah. Yeah, equal or below, I guess.
18. Did not do that.
So you have to reduce your charisma by a d4. And Ned has to do the same thing.
Okay, mine's a 7, so I will re-roll, and I get a... looks like a 9.
Close. But
Although
also,
it was already a 9, so I can't tell whether that changed or not, but it looks like a 9.
that would be also d4 charisma and neither.
We don't get any kind of bonus against the lice because of the purple haze smoke hovering around us.
Maybe
Just
they're-
talk.
maybe
Oh, great,
they're-
I rolled a 4 for charisma, so my charisma's at...
Oh, the 4
8.
charisma. I thought the 4 on the saving throw.
All right,
Yeah.
so my ST is 7. Rather, I'm just going to re-roll your d20 there. That's a 14, so yeah. So d4 to determine how much charisma I lose.
Yes, please.
The purple haze emboldens the lice. They get all excited.
It
Instead of
attracts
chilling
them
it.
to me. They like the smell, like
Yeah.
cats and catnip.
Yeah,
All
there's
right.
like a cloud of lice, and as our smoke billows up, they just like attach to the cloud and feed down.
All right, so got that taken care of.
Cool. And then we do the encounter. And the encounter is first a d8. I think I can roll this. Let's see. What's my d8 at? That is a d12. Okay. I got a 7. Oh, cool. And I think I also need to roll 2d12 to see the intensity of the encounter. So this is a 6. This is a 5. This is riveting, obviously, for everyone watching. Let me check. 151. Um, 6 is potentially dangerous, and a 5 is unfriendly and cautious. Great combination. So after 5 days in the hills, I said that the landscape gets flatter, and the wagon emerges onto the plain, and you can see in the evening that on the residing hills on the left, on the right, there are people in robes on the right side and on the left side. So in total, it's six people. Four of them, they all have these greenish brownish robes. They're wearing. They have some kind of antlers on their head. You could swear that they wear gas masks. And let's see. Where is it? And one of them is carrying some kind of. It looks from afar like I don't know, like a sculpture, maybe something woven, something with bones and twigs, and it could be a fetish of some kind. And one of them is riding a like an antlered horse, and they have lenses and bows, and they seem to like they seem to not follow you, but riding on the same height. So what do you do?
Make sure I understand it. They're just riding parallel, correct?
Yeah, they're riding parallel, exactly.
But they're on our left and on our right, so we're flanked.
Yes.
Well, good. If they shoot at us, they'll hit each other.
If they miss you, they would shoot each other.
Are they faster than us or slower? Or
well, they seem to keep up with you. So I mean, they are walking. If you could try to outrun them, obviously.
They're all walking except for the one on that animal.
Yes.
So maybe we could just outrun them if people are sketchy. They have weapons, right? Are they brandishing the weapons or anything?
No. So they have the lenses like over their shoulders, and the bows slung over their shoulders, but they don't threaten you. Like once in a while, one of them is looking down at you.
Okay. Nat?
Yes.
You are much more knowledgeable in these matters than I am. Is this any kind of marking of religious affiliation or an offshoot of a church or temple or cult that you're aware of?
Do I know? What do I roll?
I think that is intelligence. That would be intelligence.
So
again,
my
equal or under.
My intelligence is 12. So roll a d20 here. And we get a 11.
So you would definitely say that the guy or the person who's carrying the bone and wicker fetish is probably a shaman.
Yeah.
And you know that the shamans of the steppe, that they... Well, actually, let's see what exactly you have heard, what kind of rumors. If you could roll another d12.
D12? Okay. And we get a 4. Not good.
Oh, no, this is just a random table.
Oh, it's a random table. Okay.
So you know that all the clans of the steppe are named after colors. Like there's the obviously the Lime Nomads, and I think that you can see from their robes that these belong to the Ash White tribe or clan. And something else that you know is, because you rolled an 11, which is pretty good, something potentially useful is that they, so once you break bread with a member of the clan, you are safe for a day. And that also something that you know is that they appreciate presents. Like it's customary to exchange presents.
Okay.
We do have those rings.
Yeah, we do. I hope by now we've taken them off the fingers.
I think so.
We can get, I mean, the rings are 150 in credits or gold or whatever. What is our money called here, actually? I suddenly don't really remember.
Yeah, it is cash. It's
Cash.
like a Chinese symbol that symbolizes the
Okay,
word cash.
so we've got 150 cash, which is 32 and a half a piece. Since we're splitting it, we can give them that. We could invite them for a meal with us, which would be breaking bread. That would probably cost us a supply.
But we do have the provisions for it.
Yeah. Did we buy extra?
Well, we have 5 sacks of supplies, and there's only 4 of us. So, strangely enough, it works out exactly. The math works out exactly.
Okay, we can do that.
And then we can hit them up about the thieves if they're coming this way anyway. Maybe they know anyway, right?
That's true. At the very least, we could warn them about them and tell them to look out, and maybe they'll take them out for us.
Mm-hmm. Well, if we join in too, maybe we can just split the loot with them.
Yep.
We'll be like, maybe we'll just take an auto wagon. See you later.
We have the key.
Really quick with XP, did we already add that to our? Were we also already supposed to add that to our character sheets or no?
Yeah. You should write them down.
Okay. So are we doing 32 and a half? Does that make sense?
Well, it's 150, so it's 32 or 33 a person split
33, I guess.
Okay.
Except for Set Rep.
Well, no, he gets his because it was last week.
Yeah, but he can get the 32.
He gets 33 as well.
God, I can't. Why am I so bad at simple addition? God.
I'll be back in a second.
Sure thing. Is that right?
Chances are, like, well, unless they're real dumb anyway, I think they would have figured out that it would be us who stole the stuff and be coming after us anyway. That's what I would do anyway. So if we could get these people on our side and ambush them when they're trying to overtake us, that would be good. Because
you're clever.
I'm betting that they have like actually searched everybody back there and been like, okay, well, those are the only people that left.
And at some point, they're going to talk to someone and realize that Nadia and I were actually on the wagon at one point. Because we weren't actually hiding there.
Yeah.
So.
And didn't that boy see something or something as well?
The kid. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say they're after us.
At the very least, I think if we happen to run into them again, there may be issues.
Yeah, so just take them out now while we have. Well, if they'll help us anyway.
But that deprives us of a scene later in the game where we're in a market and we run into them and we have to run through stalls and cause a whole lot of chaos and tip vases behind us to try to block their path as we scramble and flee.
Yeah, well, it sounds like with White Hack anyway, we'd be dead.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Ned doesn't. Oh, wow. We just lost Ned.
Let's hold up for a second.
Because I've got 5 HP, and that's the highest in the group.
Yeah, I know. But we have armor.
We do have armor.
I mean, there is a reason why I went for the absolute best armor that I could afford without encumbering myself.
Yeah, me too.
And losing all the advantages that the deft has.
Yeah.
Listen, I would rather have armor than advantages right now.
That's true.
Well, this program cuts the cameras strangely, hey, with 3 people.
Yeah, that's
It's
weird.
you can also change how it displays. So you can do like
Oh.
a kind of tiled display. You've got that vertical thing. So
Sorry, my internet just dropped for a second.
it happens.
Yeah. All right. So what's the plan? So by now they are level with you. So the hills completely flatten out. And they seem to have come a bit closer as well.
Nat, is there a traditional greeting for this tribe?
Would I know that from the 11 I rolled earlier?
Yeah, I think that you would approach the leader probably with your hands outstretched to show that you have no weapon. And I don't know, there's another thing I wanted to mention, and I forgot. Fraser, your character has an extra language, and you don't have to pick your mother tongue. That is, that's by default the language that you speak, and common, so human. So you could pick from the list, which is on the other keeper, on the character gen stuff. If you're in the folder, I can send you the link again if you want.
Sure, yeah, I don't have that link, it looks like.
And then there's a character keeper only for character generation, and there are a couple of languages. I mean, you can just pick Steppe, then you speak their language.
Okay.
But you can also pick one that might be beneficial later on.
Right. Okay.
And you don't have to decide now if you don't want to. It seems as if Ned is doing the speaking.
Yeah, well, if I select it, then at least I'll know what they're saying. Like,
Yeah.
even if they don't realize that they don't know that I know that they know.
Yeah.
So I'll choose Steppe, and then where are the languages? Character creation.
Charge and stuff, and then I think there should be a tab that is called character traits, maybe. Let's see.
Is it the like? Oh yeah, I think I see it. Is it like Apoc and Gonic and Leander and Lugan and stuff like that? Are those?
No, that are names.
Oh.
I think.
Okay.
Hold on. I sent you. Jesus. I mean, you can just pick Steppe, obviously. I sent you a link to the character creation on the blog, which has all the languages.
On the blog.
Yes. View, I guess. And then copy paste. Okay, here it is. So maybe for you, it could also be interesting to pick. I think it was gone for a second.
Yep.
Like Vomish could be an interesting language, because that could mean that you could program these biomechanical creatures. Like city alphabet for magic stuff, or the blue tongue if you want to go into the cult thing.
Wait, so that means that Copernicus could like reprogram Vomes to attack the Redlanders?
Theoretically.
I'll choose that.
I mean, you need an interface, obviously, but
Yeah.
The next time you guys see a Vome, you'd really better pay attention to it. It might not be an illusion.
exactly.
Just imagine cruising along the road. We remember what happened last time. It was an illusion. All of a sudden, big old Vome just like stomp, 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 stomp.
Exactly.
Squish, splat.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll choose Vomish. That sounds cool.
That
Awesome.
thing turned Jimmy into paste.
So I chose Steppe and Vomish.
Oh no, you can only choose one,
Oh.
because you have 13, and that gives you one extra language.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll choose Steppe then.
Hmm.
So it seems to be the most pertinent, especially with how excited I was to get to the Lime Nomads.
Yeah. Okay, so the plan to reprogram Vomes had just died.
Yeah.
Is it possible that we could actually smoke enough purple haze to get high enough that we could actually talk to the Vomes?
You could smoke enough purple haze to think that you would be able to talk to them.
And then they just eat us.
Okay, so Ned, what do you do? Or Copernicus and Maida?
My hands are open and empty.
Yeah, I'll just do the same thing.
Same. Now, keep in mind, my charisma's down right now because of the... apparently, the place we stayed at had bed lice, so...
So, when they see you with the hands extended, the one on the horse approaches slowly, and you cannot see their face. They also wear a gas mask, but they cock their head, and they say in very bad Rainbow Lander, "Welcome. What do you want in our lands?"
We are but humble travelers making our way to the Black City. We had hoped to stop at the lair of the Lime Nomads, and we are on our path. We are here following the great circle of Prophet. But the Prophet welcomes everyone, please. We are stopping for our daily meal. Please join us, and we will share our goods with you.
I know your kind. You are, what do they call it? Like blood suckers. I am not interested in your profit. I'm not interested in your cities and your walls and your borders. This is a free country, but step lightly, because we're watching you.
At least join us for a meal then.
And the figure turns around and makes like a circling motion, and the others set up a camp next to the road. They gather wood and make a campfire in silence.
Horst, would my status as a Yellowlander and member of the Legion of the Farsight have any effect here? Since they know that I am also a wanderer, that I travel as well, and that I'm obviously not really interested in money so much as, well, trying to keep things safe for people.
I think they would be less suspicious of you than of Ned, but I mean, I'm not sure if they would know the difference between the different Rainbow Lander types. They know that they don't like priests.
Sorry, Nat.
Okay, so I mean, what do you do while they're gathering wood to make a campfire?
I think we unpack a sack of provisions and start prepping it to share with them.
Yep.
And so there's this weird silence like among them. They don't talk to each other, and they don't talk to you. Everything is done in complete silence. They sit down at the end when the fire is burning, and they do share whatever they have with you. So there's one cup that they pass around with a liquid that Shaman has poured, and they do like hand out to the left and the right some kind of tortillas and enchiladas. But everything is done in silence. There's no recognition when you pass your food around. So do you try to start talking to them, or what's the plan?
If they're being silent while they're fixing the meals, I think we'll do the same thing. We'll try to follow their lead, because I don't know enough about their customs to know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, for all I know, they eat meals in silence.
And do you drink from that like very like a bent tin cup?
Yes.
Does it get passed to us?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay, so
Everything
it's,
that they eat is passed to you as well.
Okay.
Let's see.
I would in Steppe, I wouldn't mind like telling them the story of where we came from, like the apparition that appeared and stuff, because maybe they already heard tales of that, like downwind, so we could give like a more exciting first-hand account of like the apparition that just appeared without us saying that we created it.
Cool. Yeah, I think they do enjoy the story. So can you make a charisma test with advantage?
Sure. Let's see. 220. A 3 and an 8.
Wow.
And I'm a 9.
So how do you tell the story? Like, is it do you sit there like very stoic or do you jump up and like act as the monster? Is it like more like a sing-sang?
I think it's very gesticular, and like I jump up and make the motions, and maybe even use like the light from the fire to and like make sort of a puppeteering thing of it.
So obviously by now they have removed their gas masks, otherwise they couldn't eat or drink. And you can see that when when you tell about the Redlanders attacking the monster, there's like a ooh sound that they make, and one of them actually claps in their hands. So you do have you get the impression that they love stories as well, and they appreciate your story.
Then maybe it's a segue. Of like, truthfully, we fear for our lives from the Redlanders because they might be pursuing us now.
And so for you told the story in Steppe, obviously. So for your compatriots, it's completely a mystery what's going on. And
Yeah.
one of the nomads inquires. So have you told about the rings and everything as well? Like I was under the assumption you tell the story that there was this crazy apparition and nobody knows where it came from.
Yeah.
I thought we had planned to give them at least some of the rings as a gift.
That
Is
was
it-
part of the plan.
Or I thought the meal was the gift.
No,
Well,
we
they-
break bread together, but they like presents.
We break
Okay.
bread together so they won't attack us for a day, but we give them presents to make them like us.
Okay. So should I regale them with maybe a more heroic version of you getting the rings and learning that they're sort of like marauders robbing people and stuff?
I think that's maybe when you bring up the Legion of the Farsight and what we do and how we operate is kind of traveling warriors trying to keep people safe as best we can. Maybe tell a little bit about the destruction of the Yellowland homeland so they know that there's nothing for me to go back to. Might make them feel a little bit more kinship of some sort.
Sure. Maybe I'm even like translating it so they know that it's coming from you too. But then I'm like downplaying everything that happened with Nat because they don't like that. Like Nat was also there, but that's what.
And then Nida did this. And Nat was there, standing in the background, watching.
You know how
Right.
those priests be, you know.
Well, maybe tell them that I rescued you. Maybe it'll improve their opinion of me a bit.
Yeah, but then it makes me look weak.
So you do tell about that the Redlanders probably ambush and kill innocent travelers.
Yeah, and I think like what I've deduced anyway is that they would probably have come to the conclusion that we were the ones who found out their secret and would be coming for us, because they probably like searched everybody else by now and we were like, peace.
You don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
there are just 3 roads that leave the caravanserai, and one of them is in your direction. So they could be after you. That's possible.
Yeah.
I think the one of the nomads stands up after your story, and he says in Steppe, "Well, we don't believe in the circle of profit. We do believe in the circle of blood. Those are deer that are too weak. The wolves will hunt them, obviously. Who is to be blamed? The wolf the deer. I think it's part of life.
So does that mean they want to help us with the Redlanders? Or they're saying that it's just light?
It's a mystery. I
mean,
think.
who are the wolves and the deer here? I mean, are the Redlanders deer? Are we the deer?
Welcome to the steppe, where everything is mysterious. I think this is a good place to maybe have a 5 minutes break.
Oh, okay.
Okay, see you in 5.
horse, I kind of want to go to these other gates just to see what will happen.
Yeah, maybe if you look around, you can find a gate, of course.
They look pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Although pretty much everything in the book looks really cool. So
Yeah, it does. Like the visual element of it really draws you in, I think, or at least me. Okay. So with this puzzling metaphor of the of one of the nomads, unless you want to do something right now, neither.
I'm staring into the fire. And I say, wolves hunt deer. But who hunts the wolves when they become rabid? Who deals with that pack then?
And the nomad that that stood up sits down and spits into the fire and says, "They will all die."
Everything dies eventually. The question is, do you help it along?
Sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. The dead will tell us when to strike. And the shaman nods gravely.
I look at the shaman.
The shaman looks back.
I would consider it a favor to the Legion of the Farsight, and would make sure that every member of the Farsight knows. You could always count on them if you needed assistance. Not that you ever would, you're obviously quite capable. But there are times when one more gun can make a difference.
I would say make a wisdom check.
I'm not very wise.
To see.
As I think all of this is shown.
Oh, sorry. It's not wisdom. I'm stupid. It's a charisma, obviously.
Well, that's not any better.
Not right now, anyway.
It is exactly identical.
Oh.
All right, and that's rolling D20 under?
Yes, please. Equal or under?
14 over 6.
So the shaman gets up and he like raises his hands and so that they are parallel to the ground. And he says, "Your organizations and groups and rules and boundaries and words, they mean nothing. Here, only two things mean anything: blood and the dead." And then he turns around and leaves. And the others, seeing that, they stand up and follow him. And you do know that you will be safe from them for the night and for the following day. But you can't be sure that that will be extended for a longer period.
is there a way to does any of us have something that would be able to, like a spyglass or something like that, so we could see if they are following us or not? or even just get to a higher vantage point and check that out or something.
Didn't somebody have a?
I've got a sniper rifle right
yeah.
here.
Okay, or do that. Just take some Mark Wahlberg shots at them from like a mile and a half away.
So you're trying to track the nomads, is what I'm getting.
I think what Fraser was saying is try to see if the Redlanders are following.
Oh yeah. So
There's 6 of them. I'm not going to point a gun at these people. You kidding me?
yeah, you can definitely not right. I mean, it's another like really clear sky, and a starry sky at that. So it is actually so light that you do cast a shadow even when you're not inside the near the fire. So you can get up. You would have to trek back a little bit to get to a higher point.
Okay. Like how far back?
Like 2 hours if you really want to get a good like high point from the hills to look back at the road. And then you have to assume that they travel at night. I don't know if it's worth it.
What do y'all think?
I guess we could look back while we continue traveling the next day when we get to a high vantage point, if we do.
Yeah. I mean, there's no point in stopping, so just keep going.
Maybe we don't actually make camp and we just try to get to the next city as quickly as possible.
Yeah, so you want to travel through the night is what I get. Is that what you do?
A rock version of Time Is on My Side plays.
And so then you get at the destination, and the destination is maybe less exciting as you would expect. It is so the end point of the road that you were following gets less and less prominent. You can see the deep tracks that wagons leave, but there's no real road anymore, or even trail. And the trail that is there ends in a lonely copse of trees, and there is there's a water hole, and these couple of trees, you can see from where you are that the hills get steeper to the north, and you can actually see the Blue Mountains. And your information neither was about the Lavender Hills, I think, to the north. And what you definitely can see is that the top of the mountains, they seem to be hit by something like, I don't know, like bombs or something that blew up the tops of the mountains, but in a way that gives away that it was some kind of psychic weapon. And Fraser, how does it look like? Like, how can you see that the impact was not like a grenade or something, but a psychic blast?
I think maybe there's like residual images and sounds and stuff like that coming off of it. Like instead of vapor coming off of like a mortar shell or something, it's like voices and discordant like shadows and
visual distortions or something that still flicker around the impact craters. And so at the destination, again, you can do the following things. Let's see, what can you do?
Does this watering hole have a name?
No.
Okay.
You can, well, you have to spend supplies for the week of traveling. You didn't accrue any extra days. I mean, you're slow, so it's 1 extra day. You can try to make a discovery to look for locations. Theoretically, you could buy and sell if you find someone. Well, in that case, you would find someone. Do market research, carouse, which would probably be with some kind of nomads. And you can do all the camp actions, which is forage or find somebody who employs you. Take care for a wound, set an ambush, hide, or study. What do you want to do?
Carouse is how we get rid of the damage to our stats, correct?
Carouse is the main way to get experience points. I can let me see how you get.
But you gotta spend money, right? Like you're essentially throwing a party.
Yeah, you're throwing a party. Let's see. How do you get rid of stat damage? I think it's resting. Let's see. Could be death. Let's see. Well, I do know that. Oh, we
Hold
lost.
on for a second. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, that was my mistake. I closed the wrong tab.
Can happen. So I remember, I can't find it now, but I remember that if a party member spends the whole week caring for another party member, then you can heal a certain amount of stat damage with an appropriate roll, obviously. And I'm trying to find where I read it. But if I can't read it, if I can't find it, we just say that 1 week of caring for another party member plus a relevant test gives you a D4 stat damage back.
That seems like a lot when we're down to 3 people at the moment.
Yeah, Satrap, who is a healer, I think we just assume that Satrap is also there, so we could make the roll for him, and he could take care of 1 party member.
Okay. Nat, who do you think? You're the most charismatic among us, so it's probably more important that you be able to talk to people.
Well, the problem is right now my charisma's at 8, so I'm at -1. So that's not going to help. The stats, the stuff we got going here, the vid crystals we picked up, we can sell for double price here, but they're illegal, so we could get in trouble
Hell yeah.
for
It's a
selling
watering
them.
hole. How can they be illegal at a watering hole?
Well,
I mean, it's a copse of trees, for God's sake. Where's the law in this place?
We just don't see them. They're like hiding under the sand with like rocks on their heads.
I think we established that the shamans of the nomads, they don't like moving pictures. It's considered obscene.
Yeah, we violate cultural mores here.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, these shamans are kind of sticks in the mud.
Tell me about it. Now, that would be... So we can get double price for our vid crystals here. If we hang on until we get to the grass colossus, we can sell them for 3 times, but that's 3 stops from now.
Yeah. We probably need some... We don't have that much funds left, do we?
Well,
110.
did we give away our the coins we had, the rings, or not?
We did not.
No.
Okay. So we all have 32.5 cash apiece. I'm trying to find the caravan page. There it is. Yeah, we've got 110 cash, so we could just buy supplies and move on. We also have 1 unit of saffron that we can try to sell.
You know, at the very least, I would like to study this place just to get notes and things to send back to the travel guide employer. I mean, I took notes along the way with the steppes and with the Ash White tribe to kind of give people an idea about what to do there and the cultural mores. But this is something that people might actually need to know about, this little watering hole and the culture and the rules and restrictions here. So I kind of want to poke around a little bit, if that's okay with you two.
Mm-hmm. So everyone gets 1 action, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Everyone
fine.
gets an action.
Is buy and sell considered 1 action or 2?
Buy and sell is 1 action.
Well, why don't we go ahead and try and sell our saffron for as much as we can, just so we have have some more liquidity, as it were.
You don't want to sell the illegal stuff?
Double profit here at risk, as opposed to triple profit 2 steps down the road.
That doesn't profit the profit.
I just imagine me going up to somebody with a cloak and being like, "Want to buy a vid crystal?"
Yeah, so Nida rolls on a discovery, I think. Ned needs to find a buyer, and Copernicus.
I think I'd.
You could carouse, forage, care. What else? Explore. I don't know if you can. 2 people can explore. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's just 1 thing. Well, how much money do you have to spend at carousing? Is it any amount?
Yeah, it's normally it is the local expenses, given that you are camping outside, which is for free. I think the minimum is 10 cash.
Okay. Oh yeah, I
And I
like
think-
that idea. Maybe I look for drugs with Vigo.
I think by now another caravan is approaching the waterhole, the copse, and it's not the Redlanders. It actually seems to be like it is. Let's see how many wagons and so forth. I think. So it is 5 mules with laden with sacks, and one wagon that is drawn by oxen, and people on the animals, they seem to be Greenlanders as well, and like from afar they wave and shout over, is it okay for us to rest?
Welcome.
And then they settle down. They lead their animals to the watering hole, and one of them wears a suit and a tie, and they bow before Matt slightly.
Greetings, coworker.
Greetings, employee. Have you made any considerable profit in the last month?
We are new on the road, but the prophet has blessed us so far, yes.
This is agreeable. Please, let's have a meeting.
Of course.
And the person, she sits down, and the buying and selling begins. Or the market research, I don't know. What do you want to do?
Right now, we already have the market research for what we're carrying, so I'm just going to try to sell the saffron we have.
Mm-hmm.
The 1 unit.
And 6, I think. Let's see. Yes. So 1 hour. Oh no, it's just D6. It's just D6 cash, and that's it.
Oh, D6. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just, I don't know what you take out from your supplies of,
Yeah. And my D6 is a 2. So we spend 2.
Yes. And then you roll a. Let's see. It's a charisma, I think. Again, or is it just a plain D6? Sorry, D20. Yeah, it's a plain. It's a plain D20.
And D20 says, 2.
Holy shit.
That happens to me every time I've been making one of these rolls.
Yeah, that is horrible. Deal making and hang. 2 is. So she says, saffron. Oh, this is beautiful. Unfortunately, the church has to take this sack as you know how it is. The prophet takes and the prophet giveth. In this case, they taketh.
I can't use my lawyer ability to argue over the ruling.
lawyer yourself out of I think she says, "My hands are bound."
Well, that was a cursed load anyway. That started off as our coffee that I lost half the value on last time, and I lost the rest of it this time.
You know,
Good job.
her hands may be tied, but mine aren't.
You can steal it back if you want. In any case, so we fade out from that business meeting, and so the other Greenlanders are singing, and they're singing their religious songs. And while Copernicus, I think, is trying to throw a party, Nida is looking around for clues. And that would be, let's see, a discovery. Discoveries. It's also a D20, I seem to remember. But what it is with, I think wisdom makes sense, but I'll double check. Destinations and discoveries.
And this is study that we're rolling for the my side job, correct?
Yeah, that is. What do you mean with side job?
Gathering the information for the travelogue.
Yeah.
For the woman named Backpack.
Yeah, I think we can combine it somehow. Like it's if you make a discovery, then this will be your discovery, and if you fail the roll, you spend the rest of the week studying the features of the land, I guess.
Okay.
So
and I'm rolling D20 for this?
It's a D20 plus your wisdom modifier, which is probably nothing.
Yeah, my wisdom is, I think, 6.
Oh, 6 is not nothing. 6 is -1, I want to say. Let's see. Hold on a second. 6 is a -1, yeah.
Hateful. All right, so D20 against 6.
Now, just a D20. You just roll a D20 and you want to roll as high as possible, but you have to subtract 1 from your roll.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a 9. So 8 over 6.
Okay. Dust and haze and broken dreams, and that is all.
500 XP.
The mentioning of dreams. Well, so the rest of what you do is what I assume you do. Like, how do you try to scout out the immediate surrounding or the environment?
Well, the first thing I do is I wander around the copse of trees, sketch the position of the watering hole.
Yeah.
Then I walk in a little bit away from the watering hole toward the direction of the Blue Mountains, because there's going to be hills that are rising up there. And I can pull out my rifle at that point and start using the scope to look around the area, see if there's any interesting terrain or anything worth writing about.
Yeah, you hear so with your scope, you see definitely this gigantic, like the top of a gigantic concrete brutalist, Poland 1970s building, but then cranked up to 11. It must be the size of a city. If this is like the top of the building, the rest of the building would be the size of a proper town, at least. And while you're scoping, while you're looking through your scope, you can hear pistons or something, like pistons run by probably compressed air or something, some ways away behind you. And the creaking of metal.
I want to pivot to look in that general direction.
Yeah, you see an older guy, leathery face. He has a pickaxe on his shoulder, and he's moving towards you, like making the empty hand. I'm not armed except my pickaxe, maybe gesture. And he stops and looks for your, for you to agree.
Oh, I definitely lift the rifle up so it's not pointing at him, and I show one hand. Like, just obviously I'm holding this gigantic rifle. This is the best I can do. I can like pull it up so I'm showing you this is not a threat to you, and I'm showing my other hand empty.
So he approaches, and he extends his hand, and he has like some kind of chewing tobacco that he gives to you.
I nod, accept it.
And then, well, it's, customs here, presents and all.
I fidget in my robe. What do I have on me? Do I have any of the rings?
If you want to, of course.
I'll give the dude a ring.
Oh, wow. And he looks at the ring, holds it against the sun, and nice, man. So, what do you do here? Looking at the mountains, I see.
I'm a traveler. I'm a member of the Legion of the Far Sight, and I'm working on a travelogue for a client.
Oh,
you?
That sounds amazing. I'm a salt prospector looking for some salt mines.
Really?
Yeah, it's hard work. It's hard work, but once in a while you strike gold, so to speak. Haha, salt. And
Probably more fortunate for you if you actually struck gold.
yeah, probably. You know what? And he spits out his, what you do when you chew tobacco, and he says, you were looking at the mountains, right?
Yes.
The Blue Mountains. You know what they say? That the Steplanders expose the elderly and the weak, and when they can't walk, and they just leave them behind, and then they get eaten by wolves. And he spits. Bullshit. You know what they do?
Tell me.
If you head north towards where the Blue Ridge, and he points again towards the mountains. They actually have towns for the elderly. You see that big one over there?
Yeah.
Well, the old folks, they are used as meat vessels in that war that they have.
Meat vessels.
Well, the ultras have to take some form. They cannot wander without a body for too long.
Oh. So do they take over the body, or do they just inhabit it along with the person?
They take over for some time.
And then they depart, leaving the person to return to their body?
Return to their body, and they are actually quite spry. We call them memory warriors.
It doesn't sound good, actually, but...
Interesting. Are you and which way are you headed? Which way are you traveling?
I'm looking for the for salt. I'm traveling actually at the moment. I'm traveling east. I want to get away from the nomads as far as possible, and they
Well,
travel west.
why don't we talk to the caravan leader? Maybe you can travel with us for a time.
Well, we're going west, aren't we?
Yes, you are.
Hmm.
Well, he says, and spits out his tobacco juice. It was great talking to you, and thanks for the ring.
Travel safely.
And you. And then back, I think when Nida returns, I don't know, do you return immediately or do you, still look for other clues?
Is there anything noteworthy out here that I can see?
Not really.
Might as well head back.
So
Do
when
I see
Nida-
any signs of the Redlanders coming this way? It's been a day or so they.
Yeah, I think that the landscape is flat enough actually that you would at least see like dust clouds or something coming from them, especially because they have two auto wagons that travel pretty quickly, and they would cause a lot of dust to stir. And you don't.
Okay, good. I'll just head back to the cops and send out some pigeons.
Yeah. So, Copernicus, how do you prepare the carousing?
So what I do is I think there's like a bunch of different rocks around, and I like grind them together into like this sort of chalky stuff, and I literally make like a little area of where we're going to party, and I write "Step on this spot and you party." And I guess I'll spend the money comes from maybe paying the other caravan for some like drink and
Yeah,
stuff
they
like
do
that.
have a couple of barrels of vampire wine, and
Ooh.
I mean you don't have to buy a barrel to throw a party. You just have to spend 1d6 times 10.
Yeah, to have it on tap.
Yeah,
Does the vampire stuff do anything, or is it just a beverage?
I don't know. Let's check.
Or is it actually blood? Is that what this is vampire wine?
And now you're vampire 2.
So roll a d6 times 10 for.
Yes, please.
So I rolled a 4.
So that's 40.
But I only have 30.
That can also happen. Then you are in debt, or you asked other members for money. I'm not sure what happens if you can't afford the party.
Yeah. Or I have oh wait. Oh, I had 30 already, and then did we get more money last session?
Don't
We
think
got
so.
32 or something?
Yeah, well,
33?
you get the rings. You can throw in the appropriate amount of rings.
Your share of the rings was 33, I think we decided.
Oh, okay, so then I can afford it. So I'll have 23 left now.
Oh, let's see. When a hero arrives, yeah, let's do this.
And my secret goal in this is that like people bring their own drugs and then Vigo and I take them.
Yes. Okay. So, we have to improvise a little bit. So in general, it is assumed that carousing is only possible in really large settlements. But I think we have set up a nice little party for our heroes. So why not go with it? So a barrel of vampire wine is rolled to the circle of chalk. Vigo is sitting down expectantly with his flute and looks over to you.
And then we party Bloodneck style. It's a BYD party. Bring your own drugs.
Exactly. And Vigo not only plays the flute, he also supplies a little bit, gives away from his purple haze. I don't think that the other Greenlanders use anything else except alcohol. But the party is actually going quite well until, and now there comes the roll.
Oh, okay.
Oops. Let's see. There's like a generic carousing table that I can use, because obviously the Steppe of the Lime Nomads, they don't have one. And it is, again, a charisma test. Yay!
Yay. Okay, and it's just 1d6 or d20?
Yeah, it's a d20 and then equal or under your charisma.
Let's see. Nope, 15.
Let's see. I'm stupid again because it's 15 is actually pretty good. What is your charisma?
It is right now. It's a 9 because it got
And that is
downgraded.
0, so it's a 15. And the result is everything is great, and you do earn that amount. Like, how much did you spend?
I spent
2,
40.
I think. Oh, 40.
Yeah.
So write down 200 XP for the party.
Ooh.
It's the biggest amount of XP you ever got.
Yeah. You're welcome.
So the party goes on for much longer than you have expected. A second barrel of vampire wine is rolled on. I think the Greenlanders are dancing. The representative of the Cockflower Church excuses herself after some time, but the others are dancing and singing. And what is Ned doing during the party? Like, you got a terrible blow to your business.
Nat's going to be out drinking because to drown his sorrows.
Yeah.
And to try to get himself into the proper state of mind to commune with the prophet and find out where he failed.
And neither?
They failed.
I was going to say, while this is all this is going on and everybody's attention is elsewhere, what are the odds of me being able to steal back that sack of saffron?
Good, I would say. I would say at an advantage, because everybody is either drunk or asleep. Well, you don't know if the representative of the church is asleep, but she...
was she drinking and smoking and partaking in other substances?
No, she was drinking moderately and then went to bed before midnight.
Well, at least she's not straight edge, so I've got that going for me.
No, she's not straight edge. She is in the wagon, though. So I want to say, let's see. Do you think that your vocation is relevant here?
Oh, well, let's see. Being a survivor?
Mm-hmm.
I do think that's relevant. And also, I'm just going to toss this out as an idea since this is going on at night and this is the end of the day. Could Ajax knock her out with those narcotic darts and make sure she stays knocked out?
Yes.
And that wouldn't kill her, correct?
That wouldn't kill her.
It would kill her.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't.
Okay. So considering everybody else is hammered and dancing and it's dark, I am going to commune with Ajax and say, so listen, you like fish? I'll get you some fish at the next town, but I need your help.
Again, what is it?
I just need you to use those narcotic darts of yours to make sure this person stays asleep.
I don't know. What has she done to you?
It's what she's done to us. She stole from us.
Well, that's outrageous. Who's that bitch? Show me the way.
She's a member of Nat's church.
Oh, wow.
She's right over here. So I point out the wagon.
And what is your role in the activity, let's say? So how do you make it more likely that Ajax will succeed?
I'm looking to make sure that there's no one else wandering around. I'm watching for guards, just people taking an evening stroll, having a cigarette or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And would you say that is wisdom?
Probably in intelligence, I'm thinking. Or, I mean, there's no perception, is there?
Perception is wisdom, but to be honest, what you're trying to do is have Ajax strike a probably sleeping woman with his serpent tail. That is not even a task roll. That if you use your attunement, that will just happen.
And that's what, like I said, we're at the end of the day here. It's the only time I've used the attunement. So
that is true.
So yeah.
So you see Ajax casually walking up to the wagon, jumping onto the whatever the driver's seat in a wagon is called, and then stretching himself as if everything is completely normal, and then he disappears into the wagon, casually again. And about 3 minutes later, you hear the meow that tells you that the job is done.
Okay. I'm just gonna reach into the wagon and grab the sack of saffron.
Hold on a second. Ned, do you want to intervene?
I'm off getting drunk, remember? I'm not totally sure what's happening at this point.
There's no intervention, okay. You climb into the wagon, and there are a couple of barrels, and there are a couple of sacks with probably provision, and then there's the one sack that has hen sewn into it, Wandering Sarai, Class A saffron.
Just going to take a quick look in there, make sure it's what's ours, and take it back.
Yeah, you also see that behind the the wall of barrels, there is the priest sleeping.
Okay. Well, I have absolutely no intention of doing any harm to these people. I'm not going to take anything that isn't ours. But as Nat might mention, the prophet works in mysterious ways. The prophet to prophet.
Yeah, and the prophet taketh and giveth away.
And in this case, the prophet taketh back.
So I would like to see, how does the party end for Ned? Is it with the arm around another Greenlander and saying, "You were best friend," or is it just passed out, or do you know your limit and go to bed? What's the end phase of the party for you?
Honestly, given the way Nat's luck's been going, he's going to probably do the, oh, you're my best forever, let's go somewhere else, and wake up in an alley with half his money gone. Their money gone.
Well, I think you find a cute Greenlander, and if you want to, you might be even kissing sloppy, drunken kisses. And Copernicus, how's the end stage? Is it with your underwear on your head dancing around the fire, or?
I think Copernicus is like being really weird with the suit, so it keeps like deflating and inflating up again, like one of those things in the wind that flaps around. And yeah, singing a lot and stuff like that. Just like, yeah, white girl wasted, basically.
And I think we fade out with probably Vigo. Like the sun is like the sun is not coming up, but there's the dawn is already approaching, and he puts a blanket over Copernicus, who is inflating and deflating under the blanket, and he steps out the fire and looks around and then goes into the wagon. Cool.
Did we get a chance to try any new drugs?
Yeah, the thing is that when you travel further, there are so many drugs in the steppe. you just have to meet the right people, and the Greenlanders, they are pretty square. They just drink alcohol.
Hey, they're not squares. They get drunk and they sing. I mean, that's like halfway to a punk show right there.
Halfway. Okay, so what is the plan now? There are different routes, like 2 I can see, or maybe 3. You can go further north. That was Nida's plan in the beginning, to check out the city of the dead, or the ancient city of the nomads.
Which there is a war going on there, and we are kind of sworn to help.
Sworn, you got the message, and I don't know. It was not like a rallying cry that this is your mission, you have to do it. It is, there's a war and we need people, or they need people. If you want to go, you go. And there's also what about the rest? Do you feel the same about the city of the ancients? Is it too dangerous, or where's the profit in it, Annette?
Well, there's always profit in a war zone, and
who
wants to follow us into a war zone?
That's true.
Is that the direction of where we can make 3 times money?
No, that would be west.
No.
Oh.
So in the direction west, there is business opportunities, and in the direction of, if you go further north, I would say it makes fictionally sense, because you are covering more ground within the steppe, that you could make maybe another discovery. So you just spend more time in the steppe, is what I'm trying to say.
Do we know which way the Greenlander caravan is going?
They're going east. They're going back to the Violet City.
Okay. So no matter which way we go, they're going a different direction.
Yeah.
Cool. That's what I wanted to make sure of.
If we're going to go to there and back, do we need to get 2 weeks worth of supplies, or just 1? How does that work?
Can we get supplies there?
Yeah, can we buy supplies there?
You could theoretically buy supplies from the Greenlanders.
Okay.
I mean, maybe you can buy, if you could imagine that if you fight a war for some people, that they will at least feed you and accommodate you, but you don't know.
And then, are we assuming that Satrap gave some attention to
Oh yeah,
Net?
yeah, that's true. Yeah, we can say that. If one of you rolls for Satrap,
Who rolls the best?
Look, that's not me, clearly.
Maybe we should just make Horse do it since we all roll poorly.
I mean,
Okay.
not the worst idea.
So let's see. What did I have Satrap roll the last time for healing? Need to open White Hack. Give me a second. Maybe this is a good idea, a good moment to have another quick break, like 5 minutes.
Works for me. Horst, have you checked Slack in the last 10 minutes or so?
No, I haven't. What's going on?
Basically a mini gauntlet con. I was thinking maybe you could run a Cthulhu Dark Green session.
Oh, wow. I would love to. When is it scheduled?
April 16th through the 19th, it looks like. It's on the announcements channel. Lowell posted it not long ago.
Unless Dennis wants to run Delta Green, then I will be a player.
Yeah, I responded to that Delta Green thread, so I'm tempted.
That's actually how I met Horst. The first
Okay.
session I played with him, I played a disgraced archaeologist who was on a dig in South America that went bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the Art Dream team for Gen Con. I run adventures for them up there, so
That'd be a hell of a lot of fun.
That would be super fun.
I got Shane Ivy's phone number in my cell phone. So.
Nice. I mean, I could run Fulminate, which I think is a one-shot. And I think it would work with Cthulhu Dark Green pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to decide what to run it in if I run something. I have Cthulhu Dark, but not Cthulhu Dark Green.
You can just use Cthulhu Dark.
I mean, I'm sure they're pretty much the same.
I mean, you could use Delta Green if you have pre-gens.
Yeah, Delta Green's not that bad, actually.
No.
I mean, it's a percentile systems. There's not a whole lot to it.
I've actually been in Delta Green one-shots on Free RPG Day. Guy at the local gaming store ran one with something like 6 or 7 people.
Oh, wow.
And managed to get it done in 3 hours. And it's just like, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, I do 6-hour games at Gen Con, Dragon Con, that sort of stuff all the time, and I typically come in around 3.5 hours. So
nice.
I ran a conversion on a meetup, and they all died after 2 hours. So,
I mean, that's kind of like the peak experience, isn't it?
Yeah, everybody was super happy. It's like there were high fives, and nobody felt bad about being killed off by the cleaner team after everybody got infected.
Yeah.
And Fraser, is there any way to do a Veil one shot? I mean, is that even possible?
I've done it before. It's just really stressful because all of the players are like, the game is designed to be run by the players basically, and very subjective. So you basically just got to like hard frame a situation and limit the playbooks and then just roll with it. Although, funnily enough, I ran a one shot at Breakout Con one time and I had the slot for 4 hours. And because I looked at the time wrong, I wrapped it up an hour early and everyone was like, let's just get lunch.
I mean, I really love the Veil, but it's one of those games that really seems like it needs, at least a month or two so you can like get into the characters and let it breathe.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun when you have more sessions of it, I would say.
Cool. GauntletCon, mini GauntletCon. Looking forward to it. All right. So the next morning, are you trying to get away from the Greenlanders as fast as possible?
I haven't actually told anybody else in the group that I have retrieved the saffron. So I want to make sure that things are as normal as possible so we don't arouse any kind of suspicion. I mean, they'll find out about it on the road. Maybe tomorrow.
Or when they can't like wake that lady up and she wakes up with like cotton mouth.
Well, I'm actually making a fortune roll because that seems to be a fair thing to do, with 6 being good and 1 being terrible. And I want to say like a 3 would be they have suspicions, but maybe not towards you, and everything above 4 would be okay. So let's do this. That's obviously a 3. I don't know if roll for your party works weirdly. I very often get this exactly the same roll that the dice was on already. But anyways,
I've had that happen a couple of times. That's why I actually cleared all my dice and just roll a new one every time.
If you rolled that purple one at the top,
Yeah.
the last time I rolled it, it was a 3 as well. So,
No, he's got the one over in his stack to the right.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not purple, it's pink. Okay, and by the way, during the break, I rolled for Satrap 88 for the stat damage thing, and it was under his 14 with a trained double roll. So you can clear yourself of a D4 stat damage, Dennis.
Yeah, that's going to go so well because I have to roll
It'll be a
4.
1.
What? It'll be a 1, yeah. No, it's a 3. How about that?
Yes. All right, and so I think Nida gets up probably first among all of you because Ned and Copernicus did drink. And when you get up, Nida, the camp is super quiet. So what do you do? Do you start packing?
Is there anything like regular coffee that's not an intoxicant?
Yes, obviously. Sure.
I think I make. I mean, have we? Did we already replenish our supplies?
With the Greenlanders? No.
Okay, so we'll need to do that. I just make a pot of coffee and I start kind of getting things ready to go because I figure after the night before, Nat and Copernicus are going to need a little bit of go juice.
And then the first couple of Greenlanders wake up and they said with you, take a coffee as well if you offer that to them.
Sure. Coffee's cheap. It's a community pot.
Yeah, and they start a breakfast. And then probably the next is Ned, who wakes up.
Yeah, probably with a hangover. Probably going, these are not my pants.
And the next one is Copernicus, and then the camp begins the normal packing up stuff until there's like a shouting from the wagon of the Greenlanders.
Why do I have a chicken?
Hell?
Why do I have a chicken?
Thieves! And one of the Greenlanders jumps out of or it actually shouts from the wagon. A sack is missing. And the
Is
other...
this your chicken?
The other Greenlanders surround the wagon and they palaver. And one points at your direction, and then you hear probably nomads, thieving scum, and the atmosphere goes from tranquillo and relaxed to a bit aggressive. But there are no direct threats in your direction. What do you do?
Well, as far as I know, it was nomads.
Yeah, I have no clue that anything happened because I was drinking and why do I have a chicken?
You can actually write down the chicken on your character sheet. It just walked into you last night.
And I've got like an IV line from the coffee right into my suit, and I'm just like flexing my arm, being like, "Come on,
work." But is the plan to stay and talk it out with them, or to just leave? How do you? I mean, you do want to have
we need supplies.
from them.
Yeah, provisions.
Yeah, we can go ahead and buy supplies. we need to do that. I have no idea that we were involved in anything, so I
Well,
honestly,
technically, we weren't. You guys, you're in the clear, so you can actually say we did nothing and be truthful about it.
exactly.
I'll just double check that we weren't stolen from as well. It'd be
Yeah,
a good
so-
show.
You don't know any better either, so we might have been stolen from. We might have been missing sacks of vid crystals.
mhm. But luckily, Copernicus and Ned, all your sacks are still where they should be. Nothing is missing.
I like to think that we used a vid crystal last night to watch some movies drunkenly.
Oh yeah, and they have a great rewatch value, so you don't use them up or anything.
What movie?
Die Hard.
Die Hard is not part of the universe, but there is obviously a movie about a house on lockdown where is it a what is his profession? He's a cop where one of the Violet City guards prevents a terrible attack probably from Redlander illusionaries or something.
And then while it was happening last night, I was like loosely based on our lives.
So okay, you deal with the Greenlanders. They seem to be a bit deflated and a bit I don't know, like suspicious, but they don't want to lose their face, telling that into your face, so to speak. So you can get your supplies, and it's a pretty cold goodbye when the two caravans move into different directions. So now traveling is a bit slower because there's no real trail to follow. You just you travel north, and I want to say you travel for another week, so you need to subtract the supply again. And I think it is not 100% conforming with the rules, but I think it makes sense if you could make another. If you look out, you can do the same things that you did before. It minus the carousing, obviously. So you can you spend your supplies. I think it makes sense to also roll for misfortune. If you get the opportunity to make discoveries, you should get the whole treatment. So this is, let's see, who hasn't rolled yet? I think it's Ned's turn.
Time to roll another 6.
Is this a D20?
Yeah, well, this is a misfortune is a D20, and you add your charisma modifier. So 0, I think.
It's 0 now. Okay, and we roll a 14.
It's a 14. Now the heroes understand why all the nomads constantly smoke pipes filled with their sweet-smelling weeds. All wear gas masks. The cinnabar ash that gets everywhere tastes like drowned-up tooth fillings. Not pleasant. So that's the misfortune. It's just this horrible taste in your mouth. And that is not true for Copernicus, who obviously breathes through some kind of filters. And then we have an encounter, which is, let's see, random encounter, which is just a straight D8 on my side. D8. And okay. So you run into, how does it look like? You know how armadillos look like? They have this they're like reptiles, I guess. Are they, or are they mammals?
I don't know. They have a shell though.
Yeah, they do have a shell. And the creatures that you meet are definitely descendants from armadillos, but they are taller, and they seem to have constructed, or they are in the process of constructing some kind of burrow. Some of them are wearing like pieces of clothes, you want to say. So they have like the top of a mushroom as a head, or they have like a band around their arm. So they seem to be semi intelligent, and they look over to you, and just need to roll 2d12 to see how their disposition is. Another 6, and that was suspicious, I think. And a 7. Let's see. This page 1.
While this is going on, I'm kind of sketching them just to make a record of it so that I can send it along.
So they do seem to have, while you're taking out your notebook and making sketches, they do, when they see you, I mean, they don't act necessarily hostile or anything. They look indifferent in your directions, but they do have like knives made from like stone knives and sticks that they have, at the ready. And they impassively watch you while you are either approaching or passing by. What do you do?
How many of them are there?
It's I would say at least 10.
Do we have any knowledge about these creatures?
You can make a roll on intelligence.
And that is D20.
And then under your intelligence, or equal.
Under or equal to intelligence. That is 10 over 9. So close.
So close. So news or like information about them haven't traveled outside of the steppe, as it seems.
What do you two think? Should we just keep going?
Well, we could see if they're excavating something. Maybe it could be something we could buy and trade later. That would be weird and cool.
I mean, I saw their stone knives. Maybe we could try. And I show the bandolier of knives I have on my chest. It's like, I've got knives that I can trade them.
Yeah. Maybe. What does Nat think?
I'm just as happy to let them go on and go our way, but up to y'all. I may finally have to roll my hit points.
Well, they could be excavating something cool though that we could trade.
Ah, all you had to say was profit.
Yeah, profit down in the hole.
So is anyone of you approaching them?
I think I'll get down from the wagon and approach with empty hands, like palms up, showing that I'm not holding a weapon.
Let's see. Like one of them is approaching with like what's it called? Tippling? No, is that a word? Like small steps, doing small
Tiptoeing.
steps, tiptoeing, and the creature cocks its head to the side and then taps their tummy like 3 times.
Think it's saying it's hungry. Nat, do we have any like maybe grass or any kind of like vegetables in our supplies?
Well, I went ahead and bought 5 supplies, even though, Satrap's not here, so we technically have an extra supply.
So, you know what? Let's open up the sack and lay it in front of them, and we'll step back. Let them pick what they want.
I'm not sure they were hungry for food is the problem.
So more of them come actually out, more than 10, and they look out of the hole that they buried, and there's a chattering and a clicking sound, and they cautiously approach and snatch something and then disappear back into the hole. And the first one that seems to be a bit more courageous also goes back to the burrow, but comes back with like a basket and lays the basket next to the sack, and then makes like a motion with its hand, like tipping on the forehead, and then going backwards towards the barrel.
Okay, let's approach and see what's in the basket.
In the basket the basket is full of mushrooms.
I'll eat one. Is it a hallucinogen?
It is not. It is a common mushroom. So the sack of supplies that you just spent, you got back in edible, like non-poison, non-hallucinatory mushrooms.
Okay, so we still have a sack of food.
Yes.
It's mushrooms now.
Yes.
Cool.
Oh. I learned something about them. And I jot down the note about trading and
they obviously they farm them probably.
And I'm like, I look over your shoulder at what you're writing, and I say, no, traitor, not traitor.
I look back and grumble a little bit, scratch out something with a pencil and write something else.
Technically, okay. I guess we could set up some sort of trade route here, trading regular food for mushrooms, but I don't know that there's any profit in it.
Well,
although we would make friends.
And friends are a form of profit, are they not?
Yeah.
There is a gain there. But perhaps we can find a community that needs these mushrooms or wants these mushrooms.
Yeah.
And thus can both make friends and profit.
I mean, do you make any effort to make friends other than, exchanging the food?
Okay, well, I'll approach them and I'll try to approach them and see if I can get some idea of, hey, we can get more food for you in exchange for these mushrooms. Maybe we can set something up. So basically, like set up a caravan or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I imagine that it's like the Christian explorers, or what are they called? The conquistadores.
Missionaries.
Yeah, missionaries, exactly, in South American tribes bringing pestilence and. Anyways.
Okay, maybe bringing pestilence isn't the best joke right now, but
that is also true. So I think, yeah, it depends. So you're trying to explain your scheme or your plan probably easily or like in simple gestures. And the question is, do they understand it? I think it might be an intelligence check. Let's see. And I'm just trying to, I don't know if probably your vocation as a lawyer doesn't help. It rather hinders.
Oh, really?
Or would you make a case for?
Well, I would assume that would help me explain why it's in their best interest.
Yeah. That is
But,
true.
you know,
So this would be that would be a roll with advantage. So roll under your I want to say charisma.
D20.
And then equal or under your charisma.
Okay, my charisma's currently 11. And that's a D20, right?
Yes.
I have a 1 and a 13, so the 1 is definitely under.
So I think the one Armadillo that neither. So you can identify them by the little pieces of cloth or jewelry they have, and this one neither. What kind of feature like thing they wear for not for practical reasons, but obviously for some kind of beauty reasons.
Well, you were saying that the air is just thick with cinnabar ash, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's these armadilloid creatures. Do they have like claw-tipped fingers or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They have claws.
I think and the reason I was asking about this is because I have a sneaking suspicion, although I can't prove it since obviously we have not gone into their burrow, but the one that we see is wearing a necklace of ornately carved cinnabar beads, which look to be carved with the claws on their fingers. I mean, it's the thing that makes the most sense, and it would actually give them the most precision in these carvings because they're very delicate, very ornate, and very beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And so this armadilloid takes your hand, Ned, and pulls you towards the wagon.
Okay. I let him lead me.
And then they just sat down on the in front of the wagon, and their feet dangling and their hands in their lap and waiting expectantly.
I will bring them basically a sampling of our foodstuffs to look at.
They eat it.
They eat it. Okay. Was hoping they would indicate ones they wanted the most, but
Oh, a sampling in the sense of they don't eat everything. That is
okay.
true. So they take definitely they ignore the meat and they only eat vegetables, and they also don't seem to be too fond of the bread.
Okay.
So it's but they also now after they've eaten, they roll up to a ball inside the wagon and start snoring.
Okay.
So, what do we do now, Nat? We've got a sleeping armadillo in the wagon.
I'm not quite sure what they're wanting me to do. Take it with us?
I mean, they're obviously intelligent, and it'd be really nice if we spoke the language somehow, and I don't know how we can do that. Because the pantomiming thing leaves so much up for...
Yeah, I can't tell whether it thought I was asking it to come with us or not.
Horst, do I have an additional language on for my character?
No, intelligence of 13 or higher gives you another language.
Okay. So the only... Yeah, nobody else would actually... Literally, it's only Copernicus who speaks multiple languages. Okay.
For some reason, I wrote when I was making my character in White Hack, it's 2 languages plus int bonus.
Yeah, and then, is it 2 languages plus int bonus? That could be.
That's what I wrote in my notes.
I can have like a short.
All right. Let me know when you finish looking that up, Horst. I have an idea.
Yes. I can multitask. Shoot me the idea.
Since Nida's a survivor, does it seem reasonable that she would be versed in pantomime because she's going to run into a lot of people whose language she doesn't speak?
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
So can I make a roll to see if I can figure out what all this is supposed to mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. You would have to wake the Armadillo up, obviously.
Interesting. Do we think that this is a good idea to wake up a sleeping armadilloid?
Who knows?
I mean, I'd ask what's the worst that can happen, but I don't want to ask that question.
Yeah, we could. Well, the worst that could happen is they all get mad at us, but
stampede us, claws, kill us.
They turn into the creatures in Galaxy Quest.
Right? Well, look, they're cute. They're helping the other one.
Until you wake them up.
Wow.
Yeah, don't feed them after midnight.
I was actually just thinking that. All right. I guess I will try to wake the armadilloid up and see if I can sort this out somehow or figure out what the intent is.
So the creature looks up with half, like opens one eye half, and looks at what you are doing, and so you gesture, obviously, questioningly, and let's see how good that is understood. So I don't know. I could be intelligence. It could be.
I mean, intelligence governs languages for other people.
Yeah, exactly.
From.
Yeah.
So would I be rolling with advantage since I'm using my occupation?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's roll 2d20, intelligence 9. Please be kind to me today. There is a 6 under 9.
So your intention is to find out what the armadillo wants.
Yes.
And they gesture towards Ned, and they they point towards their heart, and they make this gesture, and they maybe even blow a kiss towards Ned.
Nat, I've got some good news and maybe some kind of bad news for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Good news is that the armadilloid appears to be in love with you, and perhaps, given the hand clasping, now considers the two of you to be united somehow, although in what manner I'm not entirely sure. And the good news is that's also the bad news.
Yeah.
So, congratulations, I guess?
I guess I didn't make my intentions completely known. I guess we have a armadillo. Have you met my chicken yet?
Okay.
Considering that the armadilloid ate the meat out of the supplies, maybe don't introduce it to the chicken just yet.
Fair
Maybe
enough.
they become friends. Maybe they're not monogamous. Who knows? So you travel on with a new friend.
What do we want to name the armadillo?
That's a good question.
I believe that's a you question, armadilloid spouse.
Oh God, what's a good name for an armadillo?
It's an armadilloid. They're
Armadilloid. Can you even tell its gender, or does it have one?
Yeah, armadilloids have gender, definitely.
We'll call it Casey. That works either way.
Casey. Okay.
Casey the armadillo. Armadilloid. Okay.
So, since Casey is traveling with us, does Casey need to be on an NPC tab or have stat blocks or anything like Vigo?
Yes. No, not like Vigo. It will be a pet. So Ned just acquired a pet. And
well, that's awfully sexist. I mean, how dare you speak of Nat's armadilloid spouse as a pet?
Well, in game terms, it is a pet. In real life, in fiction, it is a partner. And maybe it becomes more. Who knows? So, if you're traveling further to the north, and you get the all the stats for the armadilloid in between sessions.
Okay.
They have some cool features. For example, they can roll up into a ball, and they are indestructible in that.
So, quick question. How many days away from the copse of trees in the watering hole are we now?
Hello? Okay. I'm back, I think.
Yeah. You froze up for a second.
Yeah, so the armadillo has some cool features that I can tell you in between sessions.
And then I was asking, how many days away from the watering hole are we?
You are 3 days away from the watering hole.
Okay.
Okay.
I think this is about the time that Nida says, oh, by the way, Nat,
Yeah?
since you're apparently now the spouse of an armadilloid, it's only appropriate that you get a wedding present. And we haven't really started moving that much, so I just hop off the wagon and roll underneath it real quick, roll back out and say, here, thought you might appreciate this, and hand the sack of saffron back.
Ooh. The reveal.
Blessed is the prophet for giving me another chance to prove myself. I thank you for serving his will.
May the prophet of the prophet be the prophet of the prophet.
And Copernicus is cool with stealing.
Yeah, I guess so. We've
That
had
was
some
stealing.
we've
I
had
mean-
some hard luck, so we're making our own luck now.
Not stealing. They basically seized it from us under duress. We just took it back. Quietly. Not under duress.
If my charisma hadn't been down because of the lice, we wouldn't have lost it in the first place. So
That is true. It's all the lies' fault. So I think, how would we do that? Like, you want to find the ancient city of the nomads, but that is a discovery. So officially, you would have to roll and you have to succeed. Otherwise, you don't find like the entrance to the. You would travel alongside the Blue Mountains, the Blue Ridge, and never find the passage that you could take.
Sad rat found it.
I don't think so. I think it is, whose turn is it actually to make a discovery? I don't know. I mean, it makes sense that Nadia is actually looking, through her scope and trying to find the way to the ancient city.
Since I'm using the scope, does that give me some kind of advantage?
I would think that since you know it's here, or at least have some rumors of where it is, we're not just searching blindly. We have some kind of direction.
I mean, I feel like the Legion of the Farsight would have given us some pretty good intel on where we could expect to find it, even if it's not exact.
Yeah, I mean, you got two information points: the Lavender Cliffs and the north of the Lavender Cliffs in the city of the ancient Nomads. Like, what I read out was exactly what you got, but you also got the information from the prospector. So I think an advantage is warranted.
And what stat am I rolling against?
For discoveries, you roll. Let's see. I don't know why I have to look this up every time.
That's all right.
Destinations and discoveries.
I mean, for a simplified system, this is still kind of crunchy.
It is. A relevant test usually thought, which is intelligence. So roll a d20, roll it twice, add your intelligence modifier, and tell me the result.
God damn it. They're both 17.
17 is good. 17 is awesome.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I rolled double 17s then.
Yeah. You actually get 2 discoveries, which is awesome.
Nice.
So I think while looking through the scope, I mean, you're not. Probably you look around as well, and so you can see to the west there's a gigantic. What are these trees called? They look like an ananas, like a pineapple. You know what I mean? This baobab or something. Let's see, what is it called?
Like the palm tree?
I think it's baobab trees, but yeah, I know.
Baobab is a tree. Yeah.
So they have this super massive trunk, and they are like roundish. If you played Breath of the Wild, they are featured in the game as well. So very, very thick, and then they have like these leaves on top, but very few just on top of this massive tree. And the tree must be, because you can see it from really afar, it must be incredibly tall, like it must be massive. Let's see.
Horst, you called them information, but I forgot the word that follows information.
Say it again?
You called. You said we got 2 pieces of information along with it.
Yeah, two discoveries.
2 discoveries.
So one is the baobab, and it is insanely tall. And to actually experience the thing, you have to go there. And then the other is you can see in the cliffs, like are they called pueblos? Not pueblos, but the like mountain villages carved into the mountain.
Pueblo. They're called pueblos sometimes. I mean,
Yeah, but they're not on the plain like.
no, but they're like built into the side of the mountain where you
Yes,
have to climb
exactly.
up and get them.
Yeah. So these are the 2 discoveries. Just a quick check-in. It's now 9:10. Is that okay for you, Pocket, still? Or
We
is
can
it
go like
okay?
another 20 minutes. Do stars
Okay.
and wishes, XP and such.
Okay. Cool. So what do you want to check out?
Well, the short answer is everything, but what's closest?
The tree is a day away, a day traveling, and the cliffs you would have to take probably another 4 days. Like you can see the cliffs on the face of the mountain, but and you can see the path that leads there, but it's a very windy, steep path.
I relay this information to Copernicus and Nat and say, what do you want to do? What do you want to look at?
Well, the tree is closer, so that would be the first one to get to. On the other hand, the cliffs sounds more like the city you're looking for.
And it might be, or it might just be the entrance to that city.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say we check them both out whenever.
If we travel to the city,
we can stop at the tree on the way back.
You can sell the saffron on the way too.
And that was actually what I was thinking, Copernicus. Nat, your way of thinking is very infectious, because my first thought was that if we approach the city, we could find trade partners there. We could resupply, and we might be able to trade some of our goods for, dare I say it, profit.
Maybe you can try to convert Snyder, Ned.
I think Knight is just being respectful to somebody else's belief systems.
Okay.
Conversion might be a bit much.
Well, everybody wants to make more money. It's just that not everyone makes a religion out of it.
That is true.
He says to somebody wandering around with a sketchbook, drawing pictures of trees.
Exactly. So, what's the plan? The tree or the village?
Sounds like the village.
Yeah. So the
Works for
village
me.
it's not like the prospector showed you the city, and the city was on top of the mountain, and it was like this massive concrete thing, monstrosity. Whereas what you see through the scope is definitely something else in the direction of the city.
And then
Okay.
are we? So if we continue now to the village,
Yeah.
do we still have actions to do now, midway, since we spent the misfortune and the other stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. I think officially when you're traveling, you can do all this cool stuff when you're resting. So you can say, we stop the caravan now and we spend the time foraging or laying ambush and so forth.
Right.
But when you're on your way, you're on your way.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so you travel for 4 days And so let's see. The Lavender Cliffs begin inconspicuously, ridges, fractures in the flat ground. Then they fold and fold over themselves again, rising above ever deeper arroyos, the pink and blue pillows of rock eventually forming into the impressive wall that is the Blue Ridge. There, in hollows carved in the cliff faces, protected from the elements with filigree lattices of living stone, spread the cliff villages of the Citrus Ecclesia. So while you are traveling on this, super windy road, you arrive, and as described in the cool box text, the stone itself is blue and pink. You like this mountain road makes a last turn, and you can see that on the side there are the like windows, so to speak, of the carved in village. But after the turn of the road, you can see like a cutout in the stone that forms some kind of alameda, some kind of like plain, or what's it called, square. And let's see. You do see people on the alameda, and they all have this like dry, dark-skinned skin tone of somebody who has lived in the sun for a very, very long time, maybe 90 years, or the youngest of these maybe 70. And and they are like sitting on bench. They look spry. They look like full of energy. There are people playing some kind of ball game where they have to throw a ball and get next to another ball, and others hanging up the clothes on a line. And when they hear the wagon rolling into the Alameda, a lot of them turn around and gather around you. And one of the elders approaches the wagon and greets you. Travelers, in Steppe.
So I guess I'll reply and say, I don't know, the customary, like, well met or whatever.
Very seldomly do we find new guests arriving. What has brought you here?
The Legion of the Farsight sent us.
Oh, so our calls are heard. We thought that we sent the wrong birds, or that their birds were shot down, or that they lost their way. And she bows deeply before you, Nida, and she says, please come in. And she takes you to a cave room that is very cozy. It has tables and chairs and a fireplace, and like mountain flowers in vases. And there's a pot of tea that she pours to you. And let's see. Let's do the good stuff first. It is 300 XP. Yay! For finding the village. Woohoo!
And that's split?
No,
Each
that
or
is
total?
there's each.
Oh.
Does Dan get that XP as well?
When gonna say, yeah, why not? I mean, he healed and everything. And so, what's her name? It's not Casey. Casey is with you and also sits on a chair and also sips on a tea.
Okay.
And the let's see, where am I?
I just got to say, they've got to be in real dire straits if they think that 4 people, a cat, an armadilloid, and a chicken are helpful.
The chicken is not there. So she introduces...
What happened to the chicken?
It's on the wagon. I mean,
Oh,
it was
okay.
not invited.
Have we named the chicken yet?
I'm just calling it chicken at this point.
Okay, because I'm taking notes in Dan's place, so I want to make sure that when Dan gets back, there's like, you know, he knows whatever we know. He knows everything that happened, and you know, naming the chicken almost feels like it's something that he should probably be noted. So
I have to assume that the chicken lands into a pot at some stage of your journey. Before you eat each other, you will probably eat the chicken.
Yes, if it comes down to it.
I don't know about that.
But right now, it is just called the chicken.
When we partied, then was that XP divvied up as well, or was it 200 for everybody?
It was also 200 each.
Oh, okay. I wrote down 50.
Hold on, let me add that onto Dan's, and that goes for Dan and I as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she introduces herself as Solbeck, and she says, "You come at a very good time." In Steppe again. So she turns to Copernicus, obviously. We await the warriors to return tomorrow, and I would be delighted if you could join us in the festivities before we send you out, if that is what you want.
We would be happy to participate in festivities. We are sun-cracked and weary.
But are you happy to participate in war as well?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe we have. It makes sense that we would have talked about this on the way. Hey.
Well, this is not something I would have hidden. You know, basically, this is what the Legion of the Far Side is asking me to do. I have no idea how bad it's going to be, but I can promise you that it will be interesting.
My gaze lingers at the sight of the faraway tree.
Hey, it was you who said there could be profit in a war zone. So
there is indeed always an opportunity to profit in a war zone.
So we're gonna fight?
Well, you can't smoke the tree.
Maybe you can actually.
It's a little too big to like roll it up. I mean, if we can see it far away.
Metaphorically speaking, there might be something to extract from the tree that is profitable or gives you
smokable.
Or smokable, exactly. But anyway, so she doesn't expect an answer now. She doesn't make the. She's a cute and friendly old lady. She also takes some biscuits out of her oven. And there's a liqueur, very, very sweet, slightly medicinal. Is that a word? Like
medicinal
tasting alcohol that she pours. And she says, tomorrow, though, we will drink the good stuff, and we will dance and celebrate until we pass out. And then you must decide. Obviously, you won't remember anything either way.
My mind is already made up.
They certainly know how to.
Sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had me at blackout drunk, but
Okay, so unless you want to ask her anything else, you spent the night in one of these cozy. I call them caves, but they are like proper rooms, proper, with
Are there
furniture.
any healing services that we could use to try to repair stat damage before you have to start fighting?
There is a healer in town, obviously, a shaman.
I mean, I figured it'd be better to go into combat with my full constitution as opposed to having it knocked down by 3.
Yeah, makes sense. So you visit the shaman of the village, which is a very, very, very old man. And the room that they sent you to it has features that show that he talks to the dead more than he talks to the living. So, Copernicus, can you give me one feature of his room that gives away his profession or his, I don't know, personality or anything?
I like the idea of like a huge portion of the wall has like maybe if it's a cliff, then maybe he has been chiseling it into a shape of like a um well, maybe even the shape of his own perception of his face, like how he
So
thinks
it's
he
like
looks.
yeah. So one side of like the the side opposite the door is just his face staring back at whoever enters. Awesome. And Ned, what else is in the room?
let's see. They've got since it's stone walls, they have these cloths and tapestries hanging from the walls to stop echoes and keep the warmth in and or heat out and that sort of thing.
And what is on the wall hangings? Is it like symbols, or is it does it
It's
depict anything?
it's like landscapes, like you would be looking out of a window if there wasn't a stone wall there.
And I think
Designed to make it look bigger.
and because he's obviously wandering in the land of the dead very often, it is the wall hangings is not like a pleasant landscape. It is it shows the land of the dead with skeletons walking over foggy landscapes and lonely trees sticking out of the ground like fingers. And Nida,
Yes.
is there what else is in the room that shows his connection with the spirit world?
This is the part that kind of freaks me out. I mean, the rest of it, he's carved his face into a wall. Okay, whatever. Wall hangings, nice. But there is a stone. It's almost like it's etched. Basically, it's been etched out of the cliff face, and it's like this stone nook. There are candles in it, and in the center, there is a skull that is covered with fresh blood.
And so he, whereas all the other elders were pretty spry and agile, he approaches you with like a walking stick and on the stick is like the skeleton of some kind of bird, and he has a knife in his belt that is actually still dripping, not dripping blood, but is still has blood on it. And he approaches you and takes your hand, and he says, "Truth and life is painful." And then he sticks his knife into your hand and leads you with incredible strength to the skull, and lets you bleed out, not bleed out, but drip blood on the skeleton. And when you wake up, you will wake up from uneasy dreams in which you have been surrounded by like people of your past, people you lost when you left the Yellowlands, and they all shout like accusations in your face that you are worthless, that you left them, that you're not doing your job right. And for some reason, that does regenerate all your stat points, and maybe leaves a lingering feel of guilt behind. Who knows?
All stat points, including the charisma damage?
No, one stat.
Okay, so just the constitution.
Constitution.
Okay. Got it.
All right, we're now, I think, this is a good place to call it quits. No, what is it called? Just stop the broadcast.
Call it a day.
Yeah, call it a day.